think he's just slowly running and they're filming it in real time. I was like, I hope not.
That happens later.
Oh, okay.
That like very clearly. I will bring it up. There's a very clear moment where they are just slow running because they don't know where the giant CGI monster is.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Pointless Discourse with myself, Hoppocalypse, and Itisdpayne.
Okay, I had the tap. Oh! That's so bright.
Don't mind us if you are watching via video on YouTube. We are recording at night because the holidays are approaching and we're playing How Many of These Can We Fit In Before We're Too Busy?
Yes. Okay, so...
when this is out, is it already...
This will be...
beginning of November? Mid-November?
This will be November 14th.
Okay, so a couple of weeks till the holiday season really
so
gets into full
we are
gear.
the week before Thanksgiving. Yeah, so... You know what? I can save my shark fact for when we do this, but Hop, do you have anything that you're thankful for? Or do we want to...
This isn't coming out the Monday before Thanksgiving, right? There's
No.
one more Monday. Oh,
Yeah, I know. I was just wondering. I can save it for next week.
No, I mean, I can say
Or
that
technically this Saturday.
I'm thankful for people being bad at CGI in these movies.
I'm thankful for... Okay, that is a good question. How did the CGI get worse? But anyway,
The monster CGI got better. The murder CGI got worse.
Yes, it was a trade-off because they had to animate two. I am thankful that a certain couple is gone in movie universe.
They lived a long time. Now that
They
I'm
lived
going to guess who you're
longer.
talking about when we get into it. But yes, we're continuing the Sharktopus saga because surprisingly there are 3 movies in the Sharktopus universe. And so we've been introduced to Sharktopus in all of its glory. So now we're being introduced to Sharktopus versus it's not natural predator by any means, but predator nonetheless, or other apex predator, the Pteracuda. So before we jump in, you have your shark fact?
Yes, my shark fact is sharks can go into a trance. When you flip a shark upside down, they go into a trance-like state called tonic immobility. This is the reason why you often see sawfish flipped over when our scientists are working on them in the water.
Oh, so technically part of this movie kind of makes sense almost. Except
Nope.
still no. But it's not all the way upside down at the one scene. But yes. So this is, it is a direct sequel because it opens with,
The ending changed so that way the sequel could happen. Like all good movies.
They added a little scene at the end. There's a little bit of a shoop, shoop, shoop.
They took the last scene. It's like, hey,
By
but
the
what
way.
actually happened? Babies.
Yes. So.
Hey guys, also spoilers.
Yeah, this direct-to-TV movie from 7 years ago. Is this one 2015? I think this was 2014.
Yeah. They come out in like when they're released is year after year after year.
Yeah.
So first one came out in 14. This one came out 13, 14, 15.
Yes. So, do you have anything else you want to add before we roll to see who gets to talk about the plot of this movie?
Should I share my fact that I saw on here?
Yeah, you can open up with your movie fact.
Okay. How long do you think the production took on this whole movie?
A month.
3 years.
Wait, so they recorded this? They filmed this in like 2011?
It said productions lasted 3 years. Producer Roger Corman called it grueling.
Yeah. This had more time to become a movie than Alien 3.
It's still more exciting than Alien 3.
So I guess it pays off, huh? That does explain why some of these movies really do feel like, you said a lot of Sharktopus, you felt like things were filmed out of order and not at the same place. So it could have been they put the whole, like these movies, they put the whole thing together and went, oh, this is only like 20 minutes long. We need to make it work.
Yeah. Apparently each stock footage shot cost $60.
Oh, all those bikini beach scenes that came back in some parts of this movie? Yeah, I thought we were free from those, but we were not.
No, never.
Yeah, Sharktopus equals bikinis.
The title of this is The Return of Sharktopus with double the stupidity and none of the fun. It's like, okay.
I thought this one, I liked watching this one a little bit more than the first one.
I'm just saying that's what a user review, the most helpful user review was. I'm like, okay.
How about you? Did you, between the two?
There's things that I like about the first one, like, and then I don't know, it's just this one, it felt like they had an idea
and they at least stuck with it.
Yeah, but it wasn't like a great idea. Like there's characters in here, there's like, it is like two sides of the coins. There's like some characters that are like, they don't detract from the movie. They don't, but they keep the plot moving, and it's like, but then there's like some characters, and it's not just like the couple. It's like there's just some characters that are just like, oh my gosh, like no,
please get eaten. Please get eaten.
And so, but it felt like after they wrote the script for Sharktopus, I wonder if like the writers were like, no, we're really trying. Like, we think this is a good idea. Because there wasn't really humor or an attempt at humor.
Yeah, the first Sharktopus does feel like they're kind of making fun of themselves.
Yeah.
This one, the only time that I felt like it made fun of itself was like the death scenes. Because the human death scenes were so extreme and so stupid that I had to laugh at some points. And
yeah, there's some that I laughed at.
But overall, yeah, like the way the characters interact with each other, they kind of felt like they wanted to do what they do in Predator. Because at one point, I'm pretty sure they all said one-liners to each other back to back to back, and I was like, none of you are talking to each other.
Yeah, it's like, just because I shot short films in the past, it's like there's cuts that I saw and I was like, okay, when we get there, I can say what it is, but it's like, they just filmed all that dude's lines in one thing and just chopped it up, cut it, and then spliced it in with the other guy's lines, and it's like, but I don't know, it felt like everyone was a caricature, and like they're just, it's like, hey,
they were all trying too hard to fit into what they were supposed to be.
Yeah, and like, let's just make it funny, but it's just like, I think the thing that I missed that the first Sharktopus, something I thought I would not be saying, but something that I liked from the first Sharktopus is that the deaths like didn't seem to like, this has to happen. There has to be deaths that happen here. It was just like, okay, people on vacation, and it's like, you know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, they're all just getting snatched like candy.
Yeah, and it's just like, while some of these are just like, well, we need to show them eating because that's what people want. And it's like, but do we?
Do we?
We want to watch whatever that History Channel or show. I know there's the History or Discovery Channel, like Ultimate Warrior, where they tried to find the best warrior from the past, but they did that with like dinosaurs.
Yeah,
and,
Animal
like,
Planet
everything.
has Animal versus Animal one, and I remember distinctly there was an episode that was like shark versus crocodile, and at one point they were like, but if the crocodile drags the shark to freshwater, the shark dies. And I was like, where are they fighting that the crocodile can just drag the shark over to freshwater? Of course the shark will die, the crocodile will win.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I was hoping this movie would be. But okay, let us roll dice so we can talk about the the thing. I kind of broke down the movie into arcs. I also rolled pretty high, so let's see if you get to talk.
I will. Okay, I have a middling roll. I rolled a 12.
Okay, I rolled an 18.
Thank goodness. And just to let everyone know, it's not that I am not against sharing this movie. I had to watch it twice.
Two halves.
Yeah, well, there was an overlap in the middle. Okay. But I started watching it, and then I fell asleep, and then woke up to, as I told Hop today, I woke up to some dude getting shot in the chest. And then I fell back asleep.
Oh, exciting scene. Okay. Again, like you said, just like Alien 3. Except Alien 3's biggest pitfall was you fell asleep during the high octane sequence. Where I remember I tend to crochet and write notes while I'm watching these movies. So like I was crocheting and like counting out how many rows I had done, and then I heard screaming. I was like, oh, something's happening. But in this one, I was invested from the beginning of the movie, but we can be ready to go into
I make the terrible mistake of watching this right before I go to bed. So like, and I don't have a couch anymore, so it's like, well, just sit in my bed and watch this. and that's why I fall asleep half the time. But I am ready.
All right. So I called Act 1 the intro, and it's kind of long. I'll kind of jump through key points to help us get through this, and you can interrupt me whenever. So like I mentioned, we reopened with reused footage from the first film, edited slightly, but just enough there that if you kind of watched the first one like a year ago and you watch this one, you'd be like, oh yeah, that's totally how it happened. But then you notice that they have the old footage that's a little blurry and some secret new footage that's really clear of something floating in the water after explosion happens. And it floats out into the middle of the ocean, and it gets picked up by a fishing boat. I don't know why this marine biologist and her assistant are out fishing in the middle of nowhere, but she's like cataloging what they find. She finds the egg sack, decides, let me cut it open. It's giant. It might belong to, what does she say, like a great white or something.
Yeah.
And then out comes the tiniest little sharktopus. Like she was using her pointer finger and her thumb to hold it by the fin, and it had all its little tentacles and its little face, and she was like, huh, what is that? Good question, because it's not normal. That would not be my reaction. Yeah, she was like, I found like treasure in the middle of the ocean. Yeah.
So the big takeaway from that is that Sharktopus from the first movie was a mom.
Yeah. Strider, my boyfriend, was like, wait, 1, that's not how egg sacs work, which you mentioned. And then he said 2, was there another Sharktopus to get the first Sharktopus pregnant? I don't understand. I was like, shh, look at it. It's so squiggly. He's so small. I literally paused the movie and had to laugh hysterically, and he was just sitting there going, what is that? And I was like, I don't know.
A plot device. No, just keep watching.
So yes, so then we go from her finding her little treasure to we have another scientific lab, much like the first movie, except this one's fancy.
Yeah, they got rid of the green background.
They're out of a warehouse basement and into like a server room.
Yeah. With all the blue lights, they're in a streamer's office.
Yes, and then they've essentially set up the guy that plays the dad in Lizzie McGuire, if you ever watch that on Disney Channel, plays the mad scientist or evil scientist in this one. He starts bragging to this military guy he has for hire about how they've built another military weapon, but this time it's dinosaur DNA, but not just any dinosaur, a pterodactyl. And you know what happens with dinosaur DNA? You don't have enough of it, so you need to mix something in. And he thought to himself, it's good on land and it's good in air. I don't know why you'd ever think a pterodactyl is good on land, but we need to make it good by sea, so put in some barracuda DNA. And thus, Pteracuda is born.
Yep.
And then they start showing all this random footage of it like nose diving and like blowing up like tanks. And I was like, oh, good for you, I guess. I don't know how you work. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just like,
It was all over the place.
What is going on? And then it's like, it's pissed off. I'm like, I'd be pissed off too.
Yeah, so then they have a similar system where supposedly they have some kind of programming. So they try to tell it to come home. But they have a guy sitting in the bare open, changing the commands and hacking into the dinosaur. And then casually walks and leaves on the elevator when everybody else is panicking, going, it's not listening to commands. And then eventually he does like convince it to come back to the lab, and then it comes through and like eats one of the ladies that works in the lab. And I wrote how for a more expensive set, some of the graphics, i.e. the lady getting her head chomped off, is so much worse than the first movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like, it feels like all their focus went in on the Sharktopus and Pteracuda fight. Mm-hmm. That they're like,
not enough of it.
Oh yeah. Well, I have a comment about one of the scenes in the fight.
Okay.
But I still find it funny. The main girl. I heard this later, and I was like, wait a second, is her last name Christmas? It's Lorena Christmas.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
It's like, I heard it like, I don't even know.
Like just in passing of them yelling at each other.
Yeah, they're just like, Lorena Christmas. And I'm like, wait a second, what?
There's no way.
I was like, that's not it. And I'm looking at the IMDb, and I was like, did any of these characters get to do, or actors get to do anything else? And it looks like Lorena, the main character, she got to be in other TV shows. It looks like she moved on. It looks like she's still, well, she hasn't done anything since 2019, which this also makes sense. But it looks like she.
Yeah. Who is it? Oh, the main male actor from the first Sharktopus. I noticed he went on to do a lot of acting in Turkey, where he's from. Mm-hmm. I was like, it must be a shame you finally like get an acting role in America, and it's Sharktopus.
There's something else that I saw, but I'm gonna save that for the end. It's gonna be a good lead-in for the next movie. Okay,
cool. So yes, oh no, Pteracuda's on the loose. Military man for hire has his little crew. They get on the helicopter.
It's the start of Predator 1 and Aliens.
They all make fun of each other and they're mean until the Pteracuda shows up, and the guns don't work, or they're bad at shooting, or any kind of combination of the two.
That's where I had a question, because they're like, okay, they specifically say, hey, I think like the girl soldier's just like, it's too fast, we can't hit it. And then it's literally the next line, our bullets are just bouncing off. And I'm like, well, what is it?
Which one is it?
And then it's like this, like, Pteracuda just like is there just to like mess with people, because he just flies in front of people and it's just like, sup, as they just like shoot him with guns.
And he keeps smacking into the windows. He's like, how, you thought you got me? Smack. Mm-hmm. I wrote that at least this was more reasonable than them missing all the bullets in Sharktopus, because in Sharktopus it was just sitting there floating, staring at him, and he was like, my gun. Whereas they're in a moving helicopter and Pteracuda is like gaslighting them. So I was like, I get it, you can miss, but also Pteracuda's also in your face stabbing your friend. Like, yes, I wrote also apparently bullets no worky. And then I wrote, they got to spray blood everywhere because one of the guys like gets stabbed, and then the girl's screaming with blood gushing into her face. Yep. She's like, the bullets, like, they're not working.
Oh man, part of me wonders, like, this was just a thought that I had in my head, and it was like, man, I wish I thought of this a little bit earlier. But it was like, man, it'd be funny if like we could contact one of these actors and see if they could
talk to them about the process of, oh my goodness, that would be a great time. We should try doing that for some of these movies. Let's see, so where
if
do
we
I
ever
have?
do like a B TV to movie thing,
a straight to TV movie series.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up the person that made me realize something and just see Do they have a social media? Would they want to come up on Saturday?
Okay, so I'll continue. So I also wrote that I think the worst plane I've ever heard in any of these movies is to be in a helicopter and to shoot through the floor.
Yeah, that I was like, what are you doing?
They were like, I don't know, it's underneath. Shoot through the floor. And she said, okay. I was like, whoa. That doesn't mean the helicopter is going to work necessarily anymore. I know it's mainly landing gear down there, but don't you need
so
that?
bright. Yeah. Well, like underneath there's like all the tubes.
Yeah, I imagine lots of coolant, lots of oil, lots of like stuff that you need. But, the movie people know what they're doing. I don't. Then then the helicopter crashes and they're swimming out, and before they can make it to shore, even though they're clearly standing, because some shots you can see like canoes like right behind them tied up to the shore, so they're clearly standing somewhere. And then Pteracuda, just like a barracuda would, just comes through and snatches them one by one. I like that at one point the guy goes, "What's down there?" You know what's down there eating you guys. Like,
yeah. I'm bummed that they didn't throughout this whole thing do a poorly covered version of Barracuda, which would be like, "Ooh, Pteracuda."
Oh my goodness, that
while
would
it's
be beautiful.
like just the opening part of it, and then just cut that. I need to be making these movies.
You need to be the executive decisions on the
I need to be a producer.
So then I wrote nothing quite like plot armor, because the only military guy that you're meant to keep track of the whole movie, because I think there were 6 originally that followed into the helicopter. We're down to 1, and he's running in slow motion. And I said to Strider, because he was only half watching, I was like, this is such a weird use of slow motion. He's like, I don't know if this is slow motion. I think he's just slowly running and they're filming it in real time. I was like, I hope not.
That happens later.
Oh, okay.
That like very clearly. I will bring it up. There's a very clear moment where they are just slow running because they don't know where the giant CGI monster is. And they're just like, this is how you run, right? It's like, no. That's not how humans run. It's very much like if you look at those old like green screen, you're just like, oh no.
It's behind me.
It's like as the thing is actively like biting them, it's like, oh no.
Oh boy. But yeah, so the main guy gets saved because the hacker is busy drinking energy drinks and driving a Jeep while the hacked computer is open, and then crashes his Jeep and spills Red Bull essentially into his computer. And the Pteracuda is like, oh, gotta go turn around.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, which that brings up something that I was like, did that hacker man really say son of a ball sack when he crashed his Jeep?
This was a PG-14 movie, Itisdpayne.
I know, but still.
I think, wasn't the first one R? Or M?
I don't know. I can click back.
Did they curse in the first one?
I don't know. Let's see. Oop, that went too far. Sharktopus. There's also TV-14.
Okay, TV-14. Oh, right, because for it to be on TV during those peak hours, it couldn't. You'd have, if it was anything higher than TV-14, you'd have to wait to show it to 3 a.m. kind of time slot. All right. So then, any other comments you wanted to? Before we move back to the state of Sharktopus.
I don't know if I want to give away a potential title, but son of a ball sack is pretty good. I don't know. I don't know if you saw it, but I still like the episode that came out this week is, I think, one of my favorite titles that I wrote, which is Top 13 Predator and Alien Movies. There's only 13. And I kept promoting it, just like, yeah, the top 13 movies.
Trick people and be like, wait, are there more?
It got podcast listens.
Hey, that's what we want. Clickbait. I mean, no, we're full of
it's called
good
marketing.
Content.
It's called marketing.
We're full of content. We're not tricking people. We're all here for you as the viewer. As you, the viewers, are stuck listening to us laugh about a nonsensical movie about animal hybrids.
But I have a very important question for you.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on aquariums? Specifically this one.
Specifically, this one I hate. I think at first, when I first saw the layout of this one, I thought I might have been here to the filming location. I'll explain in a second. But, I mean, if it's run by that guy, wholeheartedly, hate the place. Disgusting. Awful place to go. Don't give your money to this place. But I know he's an actor, but still.
There's only one part that I actually like this character, and I wrote it down.
Okay. So then we have, it cuts to, like, a resort. Again, it kind of gives the vibe, like Payne said. Did the production cast just want to take a vacation down to Mexico? And it has the same kind of feel.
This one feels less of a tourist town than the other one, of just some of the locations they chose.
So I will say I have been in Mexico. I don't remember the exact city, but in Mexico, my family had taken a vacation via a cruise line when I was, I think, in my early 20s, or I might have still been a teenager. But they had a part water park, part aquarium, part ocean life sanctuary. That's why I was like, have I been to this place? But I didn't do anything like the dolphin shows or anything like that, because one time I did go, I forget where it was, but there was like an island nation, and you could go into water that was only about waist deep and like have dolphins swim around you and not like dolphins push you or anything. And when I had done that experience in a different location, the dolphin kept spinning around me, and the trainer was like, I'm so sorry, the dolphin just seems to really like you. I was like, I've read the reports of what dolphins do when they like each other, and I don't want that, so I'm not getting back into the water. Thank you very much.
It's like, no thank you.
To summarize it, dolphins like to play by pulling each other. Dolphins are covered in blubber. We are not. So their teeth and stuff. And then dolphins are not shy about showing their affections physically. There we go. That's how I'll put that.
There were studies.
Lots of studies.
That will be the listener's homework if you want to look into that.
Yeah, and if you hate what you've learned, feel free to tweet us at twitter.com/pointlessdisco. You can say something like, how do I unremember this? How do I remove this?
I can tell you exactly how to forget about this. Sharktopus versus Pteracuda.
It will replace the same place in your memory. But yes, the place that I was in Mexico, it was half attached to the ocean kind of thing. So like the layout wasn't too far from this one. But there I swam with manatees that were rescued from like Florida and stuff, because Florida has a big problem where the propeller blades will cut manatees and then they can't really do well. So this place had a lot of manatees that were rescues. So I swam with the manatees. I fed them lettuce. They gave me underwater hugs. But yeah, I saw this set location. I went, oh, have I been here? Like, I got a little worried.
Then you go into like your mind palace and you're just like, oh my gosh.
Was there a Sharktopus?
We go and like see in the background, there's just a lost hop just wandering around, just like, where am I? Why is everyone screaming?
Yes, but anyway, so Sharktopus has this giant sign, is listed to be an attraction. And we go back to the lady that initially opened up the egg sac, and she's trying to, like, train it while her uncle who owns the aquarium is yelling at her about he's wasted so much money and needs to open. What is she doing with her time? And he just throws a fish in the water, and she's like, you've awakened his hunting instinct. You've undone everything. And he goes, don't worry, I'll sedate it with chlorine. And I was like, I don't think that works.
That kills it.
Yeah. And then I was also confused. I was like, if these are attached to the ocean like they seem to be,
yeah,
that's killing a lot of things.
Or just being like diluted.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
And then
what I did write about this scene, because we meet a lot of different characters in here, and I was like, oh, so they made one likable character, Lorena Christmas, by
her last name,
by literally making everyone around her impossible to like.
Yeah.
Or just a complete idiot.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, because they also have the person that was boating with her. He shows up and Sharktopus like jump scares him, and then she blames her uncle on that. And
it's a great family situation.
I know. And then we cut to her. I think next it cuts to,
I think like her date night. Or...
No, before her date night, because she's like sitting at her computer complaining that she wants to be able to understand Sharktopus, and her boyfriend, also impossible. He's like, wow, you're so smart. How about you spend time with me and not the shark or whatever it is? Maybe genetically it's just crazy, wants to eat things. She's like, no, watch this video. And Sharktopus uses his like his clawed tentacle and is like, eat fish, like is combining words and pictures. And then she claims primates can't do that, which I doubt. I think
I could believe it because I don't think primates eat a lot of fish.
Oh, that's fair. But then it cuts and it's like, eat people when she walks away.
You figure you would watch the end of the movie.
Yeah,
like,
you would know.
Oh, well.
And she'd be close enough to where it happened that she should be aware. Like, I don't imagine that the egg sac from the river resort in the first movie could have let the egg sac float out too far from where Sharktopus blew up. And there were news reports about a Sharktopus in the first movie. Those were going public.
She just chose to ignore them.
Yeah, she's just like, I know more than they do. Which she complains a lot about being smarter than everyone around her. So then we cut back to... Oh, wait. So there's that. But right before she goes back to her boyfriend to complain about her day at work, she had to do a dolphin feeding with the couple that you love. And the guy complains, saying he didn't get enough of an experience. It was a waste of money. He wants to see Sharktopus. And she tells him no. So then while she's left work for the day to go on her date, they go back to her uncle who owns the aquarium. And he's like, here, have money. Take me to Sharktopus. And then the uncle actually takes them and is like, oh, don't do that, ma'am. Don't go swimming in the enclosure with a Sharktopus. Like, I don't know why you would stick your feet in the water when it's shark and octopus.
You want to know why? I can tell you why. Because these characters are both Karens.
They do whatever they want. They don't care what anybody says.
That is literally... I don't know what the male version of a Karen is.
Yeah, but yeah, the man does...
Or rather, what their title would be. I'm going to look it up.
Because the man also does the thing, I'm going to give you a 1-star Yelp review. And the uncle's like, no, anything but that. Please, don't give me a 1-star. And he's like, I want the first video of Sharktopus so I can be internet famous and viral. Hashtag Sharktopus.
Yeah.
It is very miserable.
Okay, apparently they're just called male Karens.
No special first name for them.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it's like a Kevin. Oh, a Ken.
Ken.
Oh, they're asking if it works. I don't know. Anyway, it's not that big of a deal.
All right. So then, where were we? Oh, and then she sticks her feet in the water, and he's trying to the uncle's trying to coax the Sharktopus out. And if you cut to look at the uncle, there are people standing literally right behind him, enjoying their vacation, ignoring the fact that a giant tentacle comes out and whips this lady in her face.
It looks like she was about to have a Mortal Kombat fatality done to her.
Yeah, because she got hypnotized and was doing the wiggle, and then smack.
Yeah, which is like, I didn't realize that was a special ability Sharktopus had, of light hypnotism.
Yeah. And then the couple leaves and goes, you'll hear from our lawyers, and et cetera, et cetera. So then we go back to the actual date night of him ordering shark for dinner. She's like, I can't believe you ordered shark. He's like, I can't believe you can't have fun. Date me. Enjoy the time with me. And she's like, okay, but my mom put me through school and she washed dishes here, and I think I deserve to get my paper published. And he's like, you're so annoying. And then his card gets denied. But not only does his card get denied, they also cut it at the restaurant.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think that's what you do.
I was like, what if their system was down and they just cut his card for nothing?
Yeah.
But anyway, she pays for it, and then he's humbled because he's like a stupid man or whatever.
You can tell this character is very high on Hop's favorite list.
So annoying. Why can't he be a supportive boyfriend when she's literally like, well, she's also not a very good girlfriend later.
Yeah, they're not very good people.
No, my favorite line when they first get together, she's like, I had a bad day at work. I had to deal with annoying people, and I hate that my job is just me dealing with tourists. He goes, if I have a bad day, people die. Don't you understand? And she's like, whatever. I was like, terrible dynamic.
Yeah.
So this is my final part of the intro. You see a military man in the back of a taxi, and he gets charged for the taxi, and then the taxi driver realizes he's been sewing himself back up in the back seat of a moving taxi. And I was like, you should charge him more for the cleanup fees for all the blood he's clearly left in your taxi.
But to be fair, I think I would also be intimidated of a man who was just doing surgery on himself in the back without me noticing.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm like, dude, you kind of are built like a very lean build, but
and you might be a part robot since you're doing this to yourself.
But you were just spending the last hour stabbing yourself in the leg, like, without complaining. So don't hurt me.
Then we have a military man is like, scientist, this is your creation. You need to deal with it. And he's like, I don't know. I just don't want to go to jail. Let's go to Venezuela. And then blames the military man and goes, it's your fault. It was your job to contain the creature. I was like, but you made the creature. Why is it his job to contain it?
I will admit, the scientist man, I don't like a lot about him, but I did like how his main feature was, I'm a giant coward and I don't want to do anything.
Yeah, I'm going to avoid everything as much as possible.
He caused more problems than he should have just because he was a giant coward. And I'm okay with that.
And it's his great idea. He hears about Sharktopus. I forget how. It was like on the news or on TV or something. Because the couple gets attacked.
Oh, yeah.
The couple gets attacked by Sharktopus.
By, what was her name? Veronica Vegas. Veronica Vegas.
And
oh my gosh.
So he goes, Sharktopus, I thought that was dead. Let's bring it back. Let's send that against Pteracuda, a big old monster brawl, because he's also a military weapon.
Let's give it lobotomy.
and then the two of them go to Lorena's uncle at the aquarium and serve him like a dollar store blue folder with top secret taped on it. And when he opens the folder, it crinkles because it's just paper taped on top. They didn't even get a sticker. But yeah, and then the mad scientist, because Lorena is suggested as like, oh, she's trained the Sharktopus, and the mad scientist guy is like, oh wow, some woman? No, I know how to do this. I'm gonna put neurotransmitters. Little does he know, it like doesn't really work well in the first movie, but I'm gonna put neurotransmitters in this thing.
Well, he makes like a comment about it, like specifically, like he was just like, yeah, that stuff wasn't very good in the, like, I thought he makes a mention of like, yeah, they tried to do that originally, but these ones are better because it's right on the brain and in the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
He makes some sort of comment. It still sucks.
It still sucks. Yeah. So then they go. The uncle lets them in, dumps a bunch of chlorine in the water, and then it like comes up to scare them, and then goes like belly up on them. So then the military man takes out a drill that's got to be like a foot long and starts drilling into it. And I was like, how is he not hit brains? And then Lorena comes out and is like, how could you? Blah.
And everyone's just like, quiet, woman. We need
so
this plot
so,
to move forward.
So much so that they just lock her in a closet and walk away.
Yeah. It's like,
you need to understand, Lorena. Push.
Yeah. It's like, okay. I guess that works.
And now I will go into what I call Arc 2, which is bringing the two monsters together.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything else to round out Arc 1?
My phone just shut off. Let's see.
It is the longest arc.
Yeah, there's just so much that doesn't happen. Like I feel like they just forget that Pteracuda is just literally flying around doing whatever
it wants. Yeah, because like they introduced each important character in its own individual group instead of just having them show up and go, oh, my backstory is like everyone died that I was with.
Mm-hmm. I feel like it would have made slightly more sense if Pteracuda was introduced later. So
Instead
it's just
of
like
right at the beginning.
Yeah, like show like all the other characters, show like this terrible aquarium and the staff and all that, and then like kind of cut to like them doing the test, and then it's like, oh crap, do all that stuff over again, and then it's like, what can we do? And then you could really pull whatever thing. I was like, oh, Sharktopus, let's go use that. But anyway, as we said, this movie took 3 years to make. There's no way they had time to reorder anything.
All right.
I will say, when they took the Sharktopus out, I was like, oh, I've seen this scene in Free Willy.
Oh, yeah, because they tie it to the back of a truck.
They tied it to the back of a trailer and put a tarp on it. And I was like, are we going to stop in a car wash? No, just whatever. Get out of here. This isn't to make you feel bad about a killer whale in an aquarium. This is to go make these monsters fight. We want a kaiju battle.
Yes, it's a very I don't even know how to put it. It's something because because he even makes the comment at one point. He's like, "Is your truck big enough for this?" And they're like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure." And they like wrap the tarp around it. I'm like, I'm pretty sure Sharktopus is bigger than that from the way that they show it in all the different scenes.
Yeah, there's a problem I have with size in this movie.
Oh, yeah. Strider was like, I thought pterodactyls were a lot smaller than this. Oh, he's the size of a helicopter? And then later gets even bigger.
Oh my goodness, it didn't make sense because like the whole movie he's like one size, and then there's literally one scene where it felt like they just click and made model bigger because it's the size of a city.
Okay, so
Mario would jump on the back and collect red coins off it as it flew around over the cityscape if there was a choice.
If there was that option.
That comes about in 20 minutes because that's pretty much like there's only 40 minutes left in the movie at this point now. Because that's when I started rewatching. This stuff is fresh now.
Okay. So now we have, like I said, Act 2, bringing the two monsters together. This section opens up with people scuba diving and, you know, the very ominous phrase, "No one's ever died when I've gone scuba diving. Stop having anxiety." Yeah. So you know they're gonna die. So they go in, and as soon as they like dive to the shipwreck, then Pteracuda dives into the water, and then you also see that's about when they release Sharktopus off of the shore. And I said, "Don't worry, guys. Sharktopus is here to save you. He saved the one lady in the first movie." And then Sharktopus just stabs someone and eats them. I was like, oh, okay. It's not the same. I thought his programming said just kill the Pteracuda, but okay.
No, it was just set to kill.
Yes.
And then they fight.
They kind of hug a lot.
Yeah, I think the only important thing to mention about this fight is that Pteracuda just straight out double slaps Sharktopus in the face and runs away.
Yeah, and even like, is this the one where he tries to run away and Sharktopus is like, "Nah, my watch"?
Yeah, like it's very clear that Sharktopus is way better at fighting. Which I guess kind of makes sense why they went with the second, like the next one is like, yeah, I could see how that combination would be a lot scarier. But it goes in and there's like a few little fights and like it's like, okay, what does I remember because it's like it's funny watching Pteracuda swim though because he's just like a jet plane like stiff model. Yeah,
he just streamlines himself and just
launches. and just he just T-poses through the water while making a jet noise.
I know. And Sharktopus screams a lot in this movie. I don't remember him screaming in the first movie.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it's okay.
But then, so they fight, they tangle, and like Sharktopus just pretty much manhandles Pteracuda, and then
they have a much cooler fight later on.
Yeah, but like he just pinches Sharktopus is like one of his arms, and it's just like I like how they replaced his like knife hands with like organic spikes. But anyway,
yeah, like more like talons versus
so they did that, and he's just like, "Ow, my tentacle."
Yeah.
And he goes to fly away. I was like, "Excuse me, sir," and then that's when Pteracuda just turns around and is like, just smacks him in the face, and like Sharktopus, like, and then he flies away, and Sharktopus just sits there in the water and looks up and was like, "Really?
That just happened?
Did you just smack me? It's on next time you get in this water." And I like to imagine that's like the whole thing, like this whole
Sharktopus is just ramping up, getting geared up for
he's
the
just
next
super pissed that he just got double smacked in the face and the dude ran. Mm-hmm. Like it didn't even knock him out.
No, just some smacks enough to like, okay, you let go of me, whew, I'm gone.
He saw Jaws and he's like, if I punch you in the nose, I'm out.
So then we find out that they had locked Lorena in a tool closet because she found a tool chest and just removed the lock from the door anyway. And then they cut to her, after her escaping, and she calls her boyfriend to say like, hey, you have to close the bay or else Sharktopus is on the loose. He almost did it normally too.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my goodness.
He was so close to being normal. He was like, everybody, you have to get off the shore. There's a shark. An octopus hybrid.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, you're kidding. And he's like, no, seriously, get off. There's a shark. An octopus hybrid.
Yeah. And then he just runs away.
Yeah. And half the people listen and half the people ignore him, as we'll find out.
Yeah. I wrote here, like, he could have stopped that shark, but then that was the most lackluster attempt to close a bay, which I was like, wait a second, that's a bay? I thought this thing's an ocean.
An ocean, yeah.
But yeah, and then he's just like, he just becomes the giantess coward. He's like, no, okay, just leave. And just runs away. About to cry. You forgot a very important scene, though.
Oh, yes. I was going to say, with Sharktopus's reappearance as being one of the main characters in the movie again, you get bikini-clad ladies. And with bikini-clad ladies, apparently you get Conan O'Brien being a misogynist to his assistant, who is a bikini-clad lady. And he's being very rude and very mean. And he stands up, and I wrote, I hope he dies really soon. And then in the next second, I blink and I oh, good, yes.
But he didn't just die.
The tentacle from Sharktopus goes through his mouth in the middle of him shouting at everyone on the beach to be better because he's Conan O'Brien. And then it's a very long amount of time until Sharktopus pulls his head off. But does he eat it? No. Sharktopus is just a serial killer. Let's not forget from the first movie. He launches it into the volleyball game, and they play volleyball with Conan O'Brien's head.
And then it cuts to a very clear, that's not Conan O'Brien.
Yeah, that's just a head.
That's just some dude. But, yeah, and then it's like they added little digital blood. They made the sound for each hit. It's like no one knew what was happening there. As I said, like, as I wrote, I'm like, someone really doesn't like Conan O'Brien. And then I'm just like, but the other thing is, like, I don't really know anything about him. It's like, is this what he was like? Like, I don't know.
I don't know. Like, I feel like this is just a character. I mean, I know he was a talk show host. I never really watched any of his stuff. So, it's not for me to say for sure.
Yeah.
But I think when this movie came out was the height of his night career, right?
I'm glad this is what the height of his career brought him. There was one other thing I wanted to mention before we get to this scene. So there's music that plays right before they bring Conan O'Brien on. It is a tropical version of Heat Miser's song.
I don't want to rewatch this movie, but I'm really curious now. Maybe I can look on YouTube for Conan O'Brien's part in.
I think it's like right around the 40-minute mark.
Okay. And
so it's oh no. Now okay, maybe when you're sharing the next part, I'll see if I can find it and send it to you. But it's just like I was sitting there and I'm like, this is one of the things I heard last night. Yeah, last night when I watched this, and then when I watched it again today, I was like, that's Heat Miser's song.
That's funny.
Because it's just like, there's a bunch of horn going, wham, wham, and then it just has like steel drums. I'm just like, what the heck is going on?
So then we have, again, where Sharktopus is, there's a reporter that wants to scoop on Sharktopus. This is Veronica Vegas, except, like, the reporter in the first movie did try to do the, like, oh, I'm a sexy lady and I can get the scoop on everything. This lady was kind of just mean to everybody and everything. And she was bragging about the heels she was wearing, and it was like a really weird setup, and I didn't care for her version of a reporter. But she comes up and she starts kind of trying to get answers from Lorena, and Lorena's like, I don't want to talk to you. I forget what happens in between. But I do have notes saying that there are flyby beheadings because they cut to a different beach where they're not in the water, and this kid apparently has a Sharktopus kite, right? Sharktopus has to be known enough about that they sell kites that are Sharktopus shaped. But surprisingly, Lorena's like, I don't know what happened here before. But he has this kite that's Sharktopus-like, and he's, like, bragging to his mom about the height he's getting on it. And then Pteracuda's like, not on my watch, and eats the kite, and then starts to randomly bite the heads off of people on the beach as they're running and screaming. And then they have the couple there arguing, too, and they're still not dead. They're just complaining. Like, the guy's complaining. He's like, you don't want to do anything while we're on vacation together. She's like, yeah, because I got tentacle suckered, and my face hurts. He's like, you don't want to go shopping? You don't want to go look at hibiscus flowers? You don't want to, like, do anything with me?
He pronounced that word weird, though. It's like,
he does.
He's like, hibiscus.
And she doesn't want to do any of it. And then they manage to not die once again, even though the Pteracuda is going around eating people's faces. And then we have...
there's one thing I did want to bring up about the reporter.
Yeah.
They are using a home video camcorder to record and produce and send a live
yeah, in the
thing.
first movie they had a more believable camera.
Yeah, I'm just like, I was watching the clip I just sent you. But it was just like, I'm like, and then I'm just like, this dude is just walking around with a camcorder. Like, this was in Mexico. The first movie was in Mexico, where Bones had a much more believable setup, while this dude is just like, yeah, no, what is going on here? Are they just like recording this and then just quickly like uploading it to the cloud so they can, I don't know,
air it to people? Yeah,
or did they
he was the most believable character because he didn't want to be there at all.
Oh yeah, like his greatest accomplishment in this movie was getting fired.
Yes, and then we cut to like I believe it's just like some kind of conversation between the military man and the mad scientist trying to figure out why Pteracuda has gone off the rails. So like the first movie, they say Sharktopus has gone off the rails because they find out the dad has altered the DNA. Then they come to find out it must have been a hacker, and they go back and watch footage. And they're like, I'm pretty sure the hacker's name is Vladimir Futon. And I went, oh no. Can you confirm that for me on the IMDb?
Yeah, I'm looking up right now.
I know it's
Vladimir something.
Oh, is he not listed in the Oh, wait.
I'm looking. I'll let you know if you want to keep talking, and I'll...
I have the full cast and crew, and I don't see a Vlad at all.
There's a Val, but that's not it.
Wow, he didn't even get credits on the movie.
There's a character called Rick Hoffman.
Wait, what is this?
I don't know.
There's a Sharktopus.net run by Vladimir. What did I find? Okay, let me get out of there before I go too much in. It is Vladimir Futon.
Okay, I wonder why this isn't in the...
Yeah, he's not credited as an actor, poor buddy, but there's like a wiki.
Oh no. Not another wiki.
Okay. So yeah, it is Vladimir Futon, and they're like, all right, the mad scientist is like, I want to track him and make sure he can't keep getting into Pteracuda, but we need to make sure that Sharktopus keeps fighting Pteracuda to keep him from killing more people. Because, yeah, it's not at this part yet. Then we have Pteracuda, I wrote, has developed a taste for airplanes.
I never cheered more for a monster than this scene right here.
Yeah, you have the, I call them the chronically online couple, But they're on the airplane, and he's trying to, like, hashtag blah, 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 his rare footage of the Sharktopus to get famous. And she's demanding the stewardess on the flight to give her more alcohol. And when she says there's no more, she's like, you don't understand. I need more alcohol. And then her husband's like, what's that outside the window? It's Pteracuda eating engines. Because that's what he does now.
Mm-hmm. It's like, oh my gosh. Like, I'm like, yes, it's he. Well, and they explain a potential reason why later. It's not a great reason, but they're like,
great reason.
Like, yeah. But yeah, no, I was really happy when that plane crash died. And then I felt like, I didn't feel bad, but I was just like, there was like, right as the plane's going down, it's like, I think we're gonna make it, and then explosion. I was like, okay, I didn't need that.
So then we have, while that's happening, Sharktopus has developed his hunting instinct and wants to chase Banana Boat, and is like one by one picking off like people from the Banana Boat. And Pteracuda shows up, is like, oh, this looks like fun. Mm-hmm.
I called this scene, like, this is when I was watching this scene, I was like, this is Sharktopus and Pteracuda are fighting over people like Legolas and Gimli fight over orcs.
Pretty much.
They're like keeping tallies. I'm just like, yep. I don't know which one's which, but yeah.
Yeah, and then I wrote, sorry.
You wrote yawn?
Yeah, I wrote yawn. No. Yeah, I wrote they get to do a fun little tango underwater. Again, it was a lot of hugging. Mm-hmm. But the best part of this fight scene is Sharktopus picks up Pteracuda and throws him into a lighthouse and breaks the lighthouse in half. Mm-hmm. And the military guy is just like on his binoculars like, oh, wow, that's really cool. Imagine. Yeah.
It's like, I kind of want to see the Sharktopus series get the Marvel treatment.
The whole cinematic universe.
Not like a whole cinematic universe. I just want to see it like maybe just one of the movies. I don't know. I haven't watched the movies since Civil War, but it's just like well, I don't know. That's still in the animation circles. Apparently, their animators didn't get paid well, and were crunched. So
yes.
So maybe not them, but maybe a company that would do that. And I don't blame the actors, but it's just like it's very clear that they don't know how to react to what it is, and it's like
there's not good direction, and there's not good like script writing to help them through this.
Yeah, they're trying their best.
They are, and then my final piece that I wrote for them for this Act 2 section is now you have the poor lifeguard stuck cleaning up the bodies when he told everyone not to get in the water, because it's the same exact people that were like setting up the banana boat on the shore, and he's like, don't get in the water, and they're like, okay. And then he's like dragging their dead bodies back to shore.
Yeah, well, like the one girl, like she's very clear in the one scene, cuts the banana boat like off the big boat, and like Sharktopus just like yoink into the water, and then you don't see her, and then it's like she is the character that lifeguard boyfriend pulls out of the water, and I'm like, wait, she's still in one piece and alive?
Yeah. Anything else you want to say for Act 2 before I called Act 3 or Arc 3 the main characters putting their heads together? So I put her kidnapping as the beginning of Arc 3.
Then yes. Because I was like, okay, the next scene with boyfriend is like, it could either be the start or the end of Act 3. Mm-hmm. So, or the end of Act, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can keep going. I don't have anything left to say about that.
Yeah, so the two guys are driving in a van at some point, and they go, hey, isn't that the marine biologist? And the guy's like, yeah. So then they back up, open the van door, and pull her into the van. And I was just like, okay.
Yeah, it's very much just like, hey, this is when I think I heard that it's like her last name was Christmas. But it was just like, they're just like, hey, what's up? Yoink. just like, hey, this guy is pretty much like, I got money and I'm smart. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah. I wrote that this poor woman is trapped in a van with two angry man children. as they pull up to like some random, it looks like those like typical beach shore town stores where they sell like canoe rentals and all that. And the military man is like, I have to go inside and prepare myself, and starts like MacGyvering a whole bunch of stuff together.
I thought it was his house.
Oh, was it his house? I thought there were signs on the outside, because he ends up with in a room with a disco ball at one point.
Yeah, like I was just like, what the heck is this? I'm like, well, I know that's coming in later, but
that's important. But why?
Yeah. I'm like, okay, whatever, dude.
Yeah, so he writes himself he starts making himself a bunch of weapons, and then Lorena admits that she knows who the scientist is, because apparently he has published papers through MIT, and he's like, those were days behind me, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he gets distracted because he's found the link to try and find out where Vlad is staying, so that he could keep him from continuing to hack Pteracuda. And she looks out the window and goes, that's my boyfriend.
Yeah.
And just runs out into the beach. And they're all like, what happened to Lorena?
Yeah. But that is the quietest van door I've ever heard.
Yeah. Like, how is she able to get out? Because every time I've closed one of those van doors, if it's not automatically self-shutting, then they just slam.
Yeah. But she's also just, and the funny thing is like, she gets out all quiet, and right, she's around, she's like, dude, just like, dude, you just let him know that you're leaving.
I know. And then she goes up to her boyfriend, and she says something like, they tried to kidnap me, and I wrote, they did.
They didn't try. They totally did. And he's just like, oh, that's cool, babe.
Yeah, and he's like, I gotta go. She's like, I don't feel safe by myself. He's like, okay, but there's people dying. So, like, this is where I wrote that she's also not very supportive, because there were people literally drowning in the ocean, and we saw it like a scene ago, and she's like, no, don't save people. Stay with me. And he's like, no.
He's like, I gotta do my job. Just like how you ignored me for yours. It's time for me to return the favor. And
then the two, the scientist man and military man, find her, and they see her boyfriend go off on the jet ski. And I put this quote, he's either very brave or very stupid. And she goes, he's both.
I was like, I think that's my favorite line out of the whole movie.
And now he's dead.
I wish they played, oh, no, I'm forgetting the song. It's like the emotional song was just like, nothing. I wish they played that while he was like
getting the Pteracuda's attention.
Yeah, and just like play a little bit of that as he's just driving down the road and just
yeah, but he I like how they don't seem to care about the anatomy of a human, because every time someone gets beheaded, their spinal, or the top of their neck is left, like the top of the spinal column is left over. I was like, those vertebrae aren't strong enough that they wouldn't get snapped with a giant creature biting his head off, but what do I know? Then they all get back into the van, and they complain because the scientist is like, she made me lose track of where Vlad is. And then they get on track with Vlad again, and they find out that his plan is to set off a nuclear reactor by sending Pteracuda flying up into it. And I was like, oh, okay, just nuclear explosions from a Pteracuda, totally normal.
Mm-hmm. Someone knows how that works, but hey, whatever. What do I know?
And then...
this is when Sharktopus also gets hurt, and so he goes home.
Yeah, he got boo-boos from Pteracuda stabbing him a bunch underwater from the last fight. I think I wrote that down. Mm-hmm. And Lorena comments like, oh, he's probably going up the canals back to the resort, because an octopus, they say it in the first movie, like an octopus always goes back to its home because it's solitary and doesn't like people in its space. And the next note I have is, of course, Money Uncle would scream about dropping his money when the Sharktopus is jump scaring him.
Yeah. But there's one thing I want to make note of is Money Uncle, as he's like, get out my money, and then he just gets on the intercom like, everyone leave, I super hate you all, and this place sucks. You guys are idiots. And it's just like, I don't know if I wrote it, but I was just like...
Yeah, the older guy is like, here's your lawsuit from the couple from before. And he's like, forget the lawsuit, I have all the money from the military.
Yeah, but I was just imagining, like, as he's saying this, like, that's what everyone in customer service wants to say, too.
Yeah, they wish they could say in closing time, just leave, because you're all awful people, and I have your money already. I don't want you here anymore. Yeah,
and I think there's two other funny things about that scene that's worth mentioning, is, like, Money Uncle dies, and he's getting pulled in there, and, like, hobo helper man Grandpa's just like, oh no, the cops, shoot. And the cops are immediately just like,
yeah, I was like, are these the cops that were here about the lawsuit? Who are they? Where did they come from?
And it's just like, how many bullets are in their gun? And then he just like Sharktopus just kind of stabs the old man because he's like, yeah, you need to share something later. And then just like flops out. And then there's just this dude just not even bothering anyone, just gets his head, like, he just gets smacked to death.
The one in the canal.
Yeah, he's just like, having a good old day, boom, dead.
Yeah, I wrote LOL the murder spree down the canal.
Yeah, I'm just like, that dude did not deserve the anger taken out on him.
Yeah, and then they cut back to, they track down where Vlad is, and I wrote, they really are bullying this hacker. They're like, what's your name? Who do you work for? What are you doing? What is this for? And I wrote, this hacker plot is taking up more time than I'd like. I really just want more monster fights.
Did you notice the weird editing mistake they did?
No, what was it?
So when she comes in, she's like kind of sitting near the bed, and that's when...
Oh, because she goes in disguise as like a bottle service girl or something.
Yeah, and then Army Man comes in, and there's just like... He's like, hey, you, and like you see her stand up, go behind her, and then he's like, the camera switches from the other side, and she teleports behind him.
Oh.
and then it cuts back, and she's still on the other side. And it's just like, wait a second.
That's not where she was.
I was like, she is like teleporting around this room. She's a bigger threat than these giant monsters you have fighting in the bay. So then they end up dragging him outside, and they have like a slow-mo gunfight, and Pteracuda comes and takes care of the hacker himself. Mm-hmm. That's when I woke up.
Yeah.
I woke up, I was like, oh, there's Max Payne bullet time.
I wrote after this scene that the scientist really is a terrible person. But, he throws the hacked computer out of the van and tells them... That's what I was
talking about.
Tells them, you two get out of the van or else. And then the two of them are like, all right, on the count of 3. And then they have the slow-mo scene that you're talking about where they don't know where to look. Yeah. And
dude, Pteracuda is just like, oh, wait, these people are important, and gets like lazy. He's like,
yeah,
just
he's like, swipe.
Oh, good. It's like when I play with my niece, it's just like, oh, I'm gonna get you, even though...
Oh, I missed.
Yeah. Even though my niece is weird, because she's just like, well, I think she just wants me to throw her on the couch, but she's just like, what? Why are you not throwing me? I'm just like, okay.
Kids. Yes. And then I wrote, assault rifles in the beginning of this movie bounced off this creature, but his little pistol seems to annoy it. Mm-hmm. And then Military Man is cornered and has his tiny knife.
It's Monster Hunter. It's literally
Monster Hunter.
Yeah, it's like...
And once again, he's also really good at dodging massive bite attacks, like the slow-mo and all that. And then they both go and hide in a bathroom, and they're panicking, like, oh no, I don't want to go outside because Pteracuda's there. And then in the middle of them trying to plan out what to do while stuck in a bathroom, who has a little tentacle visitor? Oh, it's Lorena and her little baby Sharktopus saying, I protect you. Yeah. As he does the worst waddle I've ever seen in CGI across the beach.
Well, he doesn't have legs, even though he used them to walk in the first one.
I guess he never had a chance to practice using his legs. He's got sea legs.
The way I looked at it is Sharktopus waddled up, said, boop, you're it, and then just like the little chubby kid that's not fast in dodgeball, just like me in middle school, just like waddle running across the field, like, I'll go get him.
Yeah, but it did do the protect so that they could get out. Mm-hmm. And then Military Man is like, you're an awful person, Scientist Man. Get in this little dinghy of a boat. And he's like, all right, man, whatever you say. And he starts to push the dinghy and then starts shooting holes in it. And Scientist Man's like, why are you doing this? I was like, he's not panicking.
It's like, this is the most nonchalant reaction to being shot at, but hey, man. And then tug of war.
Yeah, he gets the most dramatic death, as he should. He gets a tug of war between Pteracuda and Sharktopus, and he gets ripped in half.
Yeah.
And then they have these really awful monologues that I was like, please stop talking.
Yeah, where it's like, Military Man's like, well, it worked on one science man. hey, I'm gonna berate you. You're gonna be a terrible person as well. And then it's just like, yeah, but I'll never be like Sims or whatever that guy's evil scientist mad scientist name is. And he's like, yeah, he was a genius. And I was like, yeah, no, that would not motivate me to help you.
Yeah, it was just very mean.
It's like, okay. And I'm like, if this ends with her like getting over her boyfriend in a couple hours and then wanting to date this dude.
Also bad together.
Yeah.
Terrible together. Then she does her little scientist thingy, and she's like, oh, because it's a barracuda. Or no, she says two things. She says it's warm-blooded, so the reason he's attacking like this is because his metabolism is faster than the food intake he has. And then barracudas hunt based on sight. So she's like, if you have something shiny, he's like, shiny? Yeah. I know exactly what we need. And cue disco ball. And yes, and she's like, just trust me, Sharktopus won't hurt me. And he's like, how do I believe you? She's like, don't worry, it's my baby. And then she gets knocked out of the boat. And then Big Boy rescues her, slaps Pteracuda in the face, and they start to wrestle. And then they set off his jerry-rigged explosion gun thingy that he needed to get in. I
thought it was a harpoon. It turns out it's an RPG. It's literally, the ending is literally any Resident Evil movie. It's like, we don't know how to fight this giant monster. Shoot it with a rocket.
Explosion. And then she goes, oh no, my baby died. And then it comes for them on the boat.
Yeah,
the
like,
end.
And it was like, rightfully so. Like, I literally tried to save you and you shot a rocket at me.
No, thank you.
Yeah, it's like, you're done.
But yes, we got through Sharktopus in a little bit over an hour. The movie itself was an hour and a half. Do you have any other fun? Oh, what's your little thing you wanted to say?
So this is yeah, my little thing to lead us into the next episode, the next movie. So, as you mentioned, there's a reporter that is very annoying to watch. Her reaction. Veronica Vegas, the actress, Akari Endo, is in Sharktopus versus whale, whatever. What is it? Wolf.
Oh, wait, so is she in it as in, like, a whole character?
She
or is it
apparently,
a cameo?
I think she's the lead, but she's not Veronica Mars. She's a completely different character.
She's not Veronica Vegas, but she's the same actress.
Yeah, Veronica Mars is a completely different show.
Yes.
Yes, so she is in Sharktopus versus Whale Wolf. I will say I like the art for Whale Wolf.
I think I sent you a GIF of Whale Wolf.
I don't think you did, because you're like,
maybe
that's
I sent
spoilers.
The Pteracuda one.
Yeah, you sent the Pteracuda. Yeah. You know what? I'm looking at the art like for the movie poster. Here, I'll just send it to you.
I can look it up real quick.
I have it right here.
Oh, he's pretty sleek looking.
I know. I'm like, he's fuzzy, but I'm like, this is. I kind of like this poster art. Wait a second, Casper Van Dien. Why does that name sound so familiar?
Look at him. I want to pet this.
Hold on. Why does that name sound so familiar? Casper Van Dien. Wait, is that the name? He's in Starship Troopers. That's where Wait a second. This one actually has a real cast.
If this movie's good, I want this. I don't think it's related to the movie at all, but
it isn't. It's got 3-1. It turns to a whale. I don't know what that is. But okay. Well, it looks like she's in. Okay, so she's not the lead, but it's like this movie definitely somehow got more money because there's a lot of people that have IMDb pictures on here. Well, it's also got Casper Van Dien, which he's Starship Troopers. Hold on, Catherine Oxenberg. Are these all like
actual names that you recognize?
Like, the name sounds familiar. I don't recognize the movie. Let's see. I'm just like clicking them all. Jennifer Wagner. I don't know. So, but yeah. But I did pretty much the whole reason that I said in the earlier was like, so Akari Endo is in both movies, and she's not in a ton. Oh, that's weird. Her birthday's tomorrow when this episode comes out.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Akari. If you want to come and talk about your time on these two movies, we'll let you. But it's also weird because I noticed I'm the same age as her. Anyway.
Happy birthday!
Yeah. Well, we'll be the same age when we record this. A week. But, yeah. Oh, she's apparently... Oh, wait, she's in a podcast series? What is this? So you mean, potentially... Hey, you want to be on another... Wait a second. I just recently saw this podcast, too. What the heck? There's so many connecting things. But yeah.
We're losing Itisdpayne. We're losing him fast.
Yep, this is me everybody. Going down research things. I'm just like, wait a second.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to this far. We always appreciate you, especially when we do a goofy series like this. If there are other movies that are straight to TV that you think we'd enjoy watching and laughing about, please send them our way.
Like Atomic Shark.
I saw Tubi was recommending all these other shark movies. I have seen Shark Avalanche.
And I seen Atomic Shark.
Oh, no. And was it Shark Avalanche? Yeah, I think I've watched Shark Avalanche, and I might have also watched Ghost Shark.
I didn't watch that, but I know I watched Atomic Shark because my mom was a big fan of Sharknado. And she's like, oh, this one's on. And I was like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Beautiful. All pieces of art. But yes, you can leave it in a YouTube comment for us if you're watching this via video. You can let us know at twitter.com/pointlessdisco. And yeah, something that always helps us out that we really appreciate is if you leave ratings or reviews on your favorite podcast platform, or I guess a like or a subscribe on YouTube.
Yeah,
We're learning the algorithm. Mm-hmm. And then sharing us with other people that you think would also enjoy this stuff.
Oh, that reminds me. We got to change our tag. We got that email. We can make a custom tag.
Oh, our custom handle for YouTube. Yes, because we don't have the URL yet.
Yeah, I think we got that email. I don't know. I can look at it after this.
Yeah, no worries. But yeah, anything else you want to say to the people before we meet them again for Whale Wolf?
Next week we get to tell you what we're doing for December. It feels so weird to say what we're doing for Christmas because it's literally the first day in November. I hate this. Anyway.
They don't have to know the timeline. It's for us to know.
I will let everyone know the timelines. I will say it did make me jump because I forgot you set the alarm for our shared calendar. And I was like, why is my phone making noise? But anyway, bye.